Weeknights on MeTV. Who loves you, baby?
You shouldn't ask.
It's Kojak.
Well, it sounds like music to my ears.
On MeTV.
Look at me.
Why do we love him?
Maybe it's the way I comb my hair.
Or maybe it's his trusty right-hand man.
More bite? Cracker! Cracker! Cracker!
Kojak!
Well, I just wanted to hear how it sounded.
Telly Savalas' Kojak.
Story of my life, baby.
Weeknights at 12:30, 11:30 Central on MeTV.
Who loves you?
Hi, I'm John Mallows, and welcome to Connect with Me, live here on Comcast in 43.6. Well, it's over. It's the day after the election. Not much has changed in the last couple of years. We have the same government pretty much. Our guest today, John Broeske, formerly of KMJ. He is going to be our political analyst on this day. We'd like you to weigh in at 559-265-4331. We're back in a minute. Not too many surprises the day after. I mean, we kind of expected to happen whatever happened last night. The only thing I was surprised about was that it was over so quickly in the presidential race. President Obama, of course, the 44th president of the United States, winning re-election, solid margin. The electoral vote count was 303 for President Obama, and Mitt Romney had 206. We get the latest now on the president's victory speech last night in Chicago from AP.
For the president and his supporters, it was a scene of joy, cheers, and smiles at the end of a long, hard-fought battle.
We may have battled fiercely, but it's only because we love this country deeply, and we care so strongly about its future.
President Obama thanked his supporters, congratulated his opponent on a hard campaign, and offered one surprise.
In the weeks ahead, I also look forward to sitting down with Governor Romney to talk about where we can work together to move this country forward.
Obama also acknowledged that with the election over, voters from all parties will be focused on the economy.
I am looking forward to reaching out and working with leaders of both parties to meet the challenges we can only solve together. Reducing our deficit, reforming our tax code, fixing our immigration system, freeing ourselves from foreign oil. We've got more work to do.
The president sealed his victory in Iowa, Ohio, New Hampshire, and Colorado. Those are 4 of the 9 battleground states where he and his opponent, Mitt Romney, spent nearly $1 billion on television commercials.
And more than 30 million voters cast early ballots in nearly 36 states, a reflection of the growing appeal of getting a jump on the traditional election day. Robert Ray, Associated Press, Chicago.
Well, back here in Fresno, live in our studio right now here at Ventura TV is John Broeske, formerly of KMJ. He'll be our political analyst today. He'll be talking about the presidential race and some of the local races that took place overnight. Not too many surprises there, but we'd like you to weigh in. Call in today and chip in. Area code 559-265-4331. Can't wait to start talking about last night's election in just a moment.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the low-price leading brands reliable advice place. The Whirlpool Dream Kitchen Get Yours Today place. Check this out. Right now, get huge savings on select Whirlpool appliances and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
Well, if you can believe this election cycle, there were about $6 billion, count it with a B, billion dollars spent on the election the past couple of years. People trying to get reelected. That includes the president and all the House races and everything else. I think Romney spent $1 billion, Obama spent $1 billion, And here to talk about all that is John Broeske, formerly of KMJ. Good to see you again, John.
Great to be here.
Well, let me run down the raw numbers for you. On the electoral vote side, President Obama had 303, Mitt Romney had 206. The House, it stays Republican, 232 Republicans, 191 Democrats. The Senate stays Democratic with 53 Democrats and 45 Republicans. Nothing has changed. What do you make of it?
Well, I think a lot of my friends are suicidal today.
Really? Well, life goes on, doesn't it?
Well, I was thinking that Romney was going to win, but I was not banking on it, and I'm not surprised that Obama won. And I think, I'm more of a circular thinker than a linear thinker. Most of my friends are linear thinkers. They think America's, going to hell in a handbasket kind of thing. I was watching Bill O'Reilly last night. He was making the comment. We have more people who want stuff now, and Obama's a president who gives them stuff. My friends talk about people pulling the wagon versus being in the wagon. But I don't look at life as a linear downward trend. I'm more circular. I think what goes around comes around, and we will. This is not the end of the world. War goes on forever. Elections are battles within wars. Romney lost this battle. Republicans lost this battle. But there will be other battles.
Do you have your thought process as to why President Obama won re-election?
I can give you my theory, which is going to be way off what anybody's thinking about. But I've studied American progressivism, which started, ironically enough, in 1912, 100 years ago, with the election of Woodrow Wilson. He was elected to 2 terms. He called himself a progressive. He sullied the name progressive so bad, it's taken 100 years to come back. When FDR was elected in 1932, he called himself a liberal. And liberal was so tarnished by the time Obama came around, he called himself a progressive. But we've had 3 major progressive eras in the last 100 years. It was Woodrow Wilson, FDR, and LBJ. And the holy grail after all that was universal health care. And that's what Obama wanted to achieve. He's not as dumb as people think he is or would like to think. His goal was universal health care, and he got it. And he was willing to put his career on the line to get it, and he survived.
All right, now what do you make of this? In the last 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 election cycles, I believe, you had President Clinton, he's a 2-term president. President Bush, a 2-term president. Now, President Obama, a 2-term president. What does that say about our country?
Well, I think, number one, it's very difficult to beat an incumbent. You have to do really bad to lose. Most of us thought Obama did really bad, right? And thought he would lose. With unemployment, gas prices, Benghazi, Fast and Furious, Solyndra. You can just go down a list of things that are just total disasters. And yet we're so divided, if your guy is your guy, it don't matter.
But the majority of the country, I was looking at a map online, the majority of the country kind of went to the right. It went this way, to the right, except for the presidency.
Well, I think the Republicans have to look at this like there wasn't just one election. They still have the House. They still have ways to fight. And I think those Republican congressmen in the House have to look at this election and say, we were sent here for a reason. And it wasn't just to go along to get along. They've got this big fight coming up with the debt ceiling. And remember this in 2011?
Yep, I remember.
And if I were a Republican, I would refuse to raise that debt. Obama needs money to give to these people. Cut off the funding. That'll stop Bernanke from printing money, and it'll be havoc. It'll be economic havoc. But you can do that, or you can kick it down the road. Sometime we're going to have to pay the fiddler.
Does the president have a mandate now?
No.
He doesn't?
No.
Because of Congress?
Yeah.
Okay.
If they would have changed Congress, he'd have a mandate, like he did in 2008. But, the people have sent back a highly majority Congress, and those people are there. They've been sent there by people who expect them to fight. I expect them to fight. There is no mandate. The war continues every day.
What do you think about the Electoral College? A lot of people say it's outdated.
Well, I don't think so. It was put there for a reason so that the mass majorities of populations on the coast can't control the elections and the little states have no say. I think that's still valid.
Of course, it's over by the time the polls close here,
right,
in a lot of cases.
But, I still believe in it. But, I guess this will be debated.
Hey, let's run down some of the races here locally. We've got the 16th congressional race. No surprise. We'll put them up on the screen, and, nobody's going to fall out of their seat when they see the results of this. We've got Jim Costa versus Brian Whelan. Whelan had no chance. Jim Costa won re-election. You've got the 21st congressional race, Valadeo against Hernandez. Valadeo won. The 22nd congressional race, who on this earth thought that Devin Nunes was going to lose? No one. He won re-election handily over Otto Lee. And the 23rd assembly race, the state assembly, went to Jim Patterson. That seat there won. The former mayor of Fresno is now going to Sacramento. He beat Bob Whalen, city councilman over in Clovis. What do you make of some of these races?
Well, I mean, I think, some people say that we don't pick our congressmen and assemblymen, they pick us. You know, they draw the district lines. You have highly partisan districts that if you're a Republican district, you're going to win. If you're a Democrat, you're going to win. So, I mean, I was kind of checking around the state today in some congressional races. It is, I mean, Republicans didn't just get beat in California. They got clobbered. If you go up to Bay Area and check on the Nancy Pelosi's, a George, I mean, they're winning 75, 25, 82, 18. I mean, it is just a massacre.
Because San Francisco and Los Angeles weigh into the election here heavily, and that's heavily populated by Democrats.
Right. And if you look at like a county map of California for almost any issue, you'll see the coast lines up with the liberal side, and interior lines up conservative.
Right, but the Central Valley, we're conservative here.
But that's where all the population is on the coast.
Right,
so,
it's not here.
Yeah, and so we have, I mean, God bless Jim Patterson and people like him who want to run and go to Sacramento and try to change things. He's irrelevant. I mean, no personal affront to him, but he said, I want to reach across the aisle. They don't want you to reach across the aisle. I don't care. They don't care what Jim Patterson, they don't care what Linda Halderman says. They don't care what these people say.
What are you telling me, John? Patterson's going to beat his head against the wall pretty much?
Absolutely. Did they get the supermajority? I mean, I didn't see the final results. They were very close to getting supermajority.
No, they didn't get it.
Okay, well, that's good.
So...
But I mean, I think, congressional Republicans in Washington have tools to fight with the debt ceiling. If they've got in California, if they don't have a supermajority, they still have the budget battle here that they can fight, and hopefully they will.
Lots more to talk about here on Connect with Me. Time to take a break, but we want you to weigh in. Call in if you have an opinion about what happened yesterday and what may happen in the future. 265-4331. We're talking with John Broeske. We're back in just a moment.
Fasten your bones and let's twizzle!
Do the twizzle with me.
Everybody, start in doing the twizzle. Everybody, if you're ready to sizzle, you twist a little and you twist a lot. And when you really get hot, that's the twizzle. Twizzle, twizzle.
Weeknights starting at 9/8 Central on MeTV.
Twizzle!
And we're back here on Connect with Me with John Broeske. I want to ask you about some of these other races. We'll put some of these races up on the screen here. We'll start with the Fresno Unified School District. And by the way, tonight they're going to hold a special meeting at 5:30 to determine who's going to fill that seat left vacant by Tony Vang. So we'll see what happens there. We'll keep a close eye and keep you posted on that tomorrow. In the meantime, let's put some of these races up on the screen. We got Fresno Unified Area 2. Luis Chavez, he was a guest on this program. He won that seat over the two running mates, or not running mates, but two opponents there. Fresno Unified Area 5, Carol Mills won re-election handily over her two opponents. Fresno Unified Area 6, Janet Ryan kept her seat on the school board. Now, let's switch to the city council. How about that race? Steve Randall, Pat DeChico, they were both guests here on my program together, debating both two great guys. Brandau won it, though, so he will fill that District 2 seat left open by Andreas Borges, who is now a Fresno County supervisor. The Sanger mayoral seat, Joshua Mitchell keeps his seat. Kind of a wild scene over there in Sanger with some death threats coming against Joshua Mitchell, him putting on a flak jacket yesterday, walking around to some of the precincts. Amazing. It was a nasty campaign between him and Victor Reese. Reese remains on the city council, but it was just a wipeout. Mitchell won his seat handily there in Sanger. So these races are over. John, you can take a look at the sheet here. Anything stand out there for you?
Well, I just think in the Fresno Unified, it looks like that is
status quo.
Yeah, and that's good for the Superintendent Hanson.
Right.
These are his people. There's a lot of people that would like to unseat these guys and get more union representation in there and fight the superintendent. So it looks like, that's good for him, I would say.
The only new guy on the block is Chavez.
Yeah, I don't know
Luis
much
Chavez.
about him.
Yeah.
But it looks to me like the majority still remains in the hands of this. I don't want to say he's running the board, but these are people who support him. So.
Right. Is that good or bad that these people that have been reelected and kept their seat, Mills and Ryan, they're Hanson's people? Is that a good thing or a bad thing for Fresno Unified, do you think?
Well, I mean, I personally think it's a good thing. I like the superintendent from what I see. It's, education in this state is such a mess, and like many other things because of these public employee unions. And until we get a governor who's willing to take that on, I mean, all you can do is sit in your district and do the best you can do,
He's much maligned, though. You read the Fresno Bee like I do, with the dropout rates, the truancies, all of that sort of thing. And, whether he deserves it or not, I don't know. I don't sit on the board, so I don't know all the inner workings of it. But what do you make of it?
Well, see, I'm more of a voucher kind of guy.
Yeah.
I think, I went to public school. Public school was great for me. I was successful in public school. It's terrible for the people who it doesn't work for, and they have no other choice. And that's why I'm a voucher kind of person. They say, well, we'll lose all our good students. My parents would not have put me somewhere else because everything was fine with me,
Right.
But these people that drop out...
we kind of live in a different culture now, too.
Yeah,
when
that's right.
You and I went to school, it's a different mindset.
But if we had something like a voucher where people could open a school and try to do something with these failing students, maybe there's people with some great ideas out there.
But would you agree that not every student is cut out to go to college?
Oh, yeah. But I think every student is cut out to go to high school.
Right.
And I think... See, if it were up to me, I would have a program say, if you don't graduate from high school, you get nothing else in any kind of benefits the rest of your life. You got to pass hurdles to get to the next hurdle.
What about vocational programs? Do
they
work?
I think they do. You should have them. When I was in school, we had auto shop and all these kind of vocational things.
Wood shop. I had wood shop.
And there were kids that loved working on cars and stuff, and they wanted to be mechanics or they wanted to drag race or whatever. And I don't know. I think there's a lot of that kind of stuff you should do.
Right. Where'd all that money go, that lottery money that was supposed to go to education?
Well, when it comes to lottery money, there really isn't that much. When you're talking, what is it, $50 billion in this state for education, you get maybe $1 billion of lottery money.
It's a lot of money, though.
Well, it cuts the lawn, maybe,
Yeah, it cuts, basically cuts the lawn.
The other thing, I see Steve Brandow won city council, and I was interested in that. He's a Tea Party guy. I like him. He was running against a guy with a lot of name recognition.
Right, DeChico, yeah.
And I thought that
I like both of them, actually.
Yeah, they were both fine, I noticed that Steve did not really use Tea Party, in his campaign. So, it was interesting to me, and I haven't talked to him, but I know he's still very involved in the Tea Party, but you didn't see it much in his campaign.
No.
Didn't see anything about high-speed rail. He didn't apparently want to take on the mayor about that, and he's been very anti-high-speed rail.
Yeah.
So where all that goes, I don't know.
Yeah, he's in favor of privatizing garbage here in the city, and
right.
you know about the problems with the police union. You've got the city budget problems.
Right.
I'm not sure where Steve stands on some of that. He was a guest here, but he wants to work things out with the police. Obviously, the city budget is a big deal. Do you think the city could go bankrupt at this point, or do you think they'll work it out?
Absolutely, they could.
They could.
Yeah. Because they have no money. So it's interesting to me. I mean, the police union is the elephant in the room, right?
Yeah.
They've got all the money. I mean, when you ask them, what are we going to do about our budget? They say, well, we're fine. We got plenty of money. It'd be like your wife saying to you, I need to go to the store and there's nothing in the checking account. Well, but I'm fine. My checking account's fine. Right? Well, that's the problem. We need to put some of that money into this account, right?
So you think the police ought to make some concessions?
Well, I mean, the problem is the mayor came in and kicked the can down the road a little bit, made yearly concessions for 2 or 3 years. I think she was hoping the economy would turn around. She's hoping high-speed rail will help her out. So she didn't really take them on. I sympathize with her. It's not an easy battle.
Will Brandow side with the mayor?
I think if she goes after them in the way they need to be gone after, that he will. But it's a tough battle because they're so powerful.
Yeah.
They've got so much money. They're very political players, like all the unions in the state.
Brandow didn't have the name recognition, but he certainly had the backing from a lot of people. He had Pete Mijas, he had Alan Autry, he had some other big names that were behind. Andreas Borges backed him.
Right.
So that's probably why he won.
Yeah, I think, and the B endorsed him. Which,
B endorsed him, yeah.
For to me, that makes me wonder a little bit, So
right.
That's not a plus for me, but I guess it was okay,
Yeah, they're both good guys. They are. I'm sure he'll do a fine job. We're back with John Broeske and more of Connect With Me. Hey, weigh in, 265-4331 if you want to call in the program.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place. The Energy Star qualified #1 rated high efficiency Cabrio from Whirlpool Place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Whirlpool Cabrio laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
No phone calls yet. Hey, the phone line is open. Area code 559-265-4331. Again, 265-4331. We're talking about last night's election, and here is John Broeske talking about all of the races and what happened nationally, of course. And, time to run down some of these propositions. we're going to put these up on the screen, but Prop 30. I checked the internet last night before I went to bed. I went to bed late. There's Prop 30 up on the screen. That's the education fund, Prop 30. It passed. It was losing last night late. I woke up this morning and found out it passed. Are you shocked?
I'm not shocked. The governor, I think, is pretty popular in the state, as
Right.
are all Democrats. He said he needed this. This was his key thing. He's been campaigning hard for it. And I think the people of the state, this is a very liberal state.
But it was losing big time last night, and I wake up this morning and I'm thinking, wait a minute.
But how much faith do you have in all these polls? I mean, I've learned that, polls can be very misleading. So I don't know.
With people losing their jobs, people losing their homes, people getting maybe a decrease in pay, or maybe being put on part-time as opposed to full-time, less money in their pocket, and they want to pay more taxes?
Well,
are you kidding me?
Well, look, Obama won. This one, I mean, what's surprising? There's all kind of a pattern here, isn't there?
Right. And Prop 30 deals with...
to me, if gas prices alone are enough to change leadership in this country, that's all I need. I can't believe that gas prices are hardly even an issue. I mean, when I go to the gas station, it's an issue for me every time.
They were not, gas prices were not an issue in any of the debates. Right. We had 3 debates. Right. Barely came up. I think it came up once.
And the debt ceiling was never brought up in a debate. And that's a huge deal that we're going to be talking about in a week.
Right. Well, Proposition 30, in case you don't know, raises taxes on those making $250,000 or more, and also puts a sales tax of how much, John?
I think it's an eighth of a cent.
Yeah, but still, hey, it's there.
Well, see, that problem is that all of these taxes, like our library tax, it's an eighth of a cent or something. They always say, well, it's just, it's 4 cents every time you go to the store. But the problem is we have like 50 of them.
So when we add them all up, it's like this.
Yeah, I mean, and every county, like we have our county library tax, and other counties have their tax, and now they're talking about law enforcement special taxes. I mean, they're all little, but they just keep stacking up.
Is this going to hurt small business, Prop 30?
Well, I mean, I think anytime you take money out of the private sector, it comes from somewhere. It would have been used for something else.
Like hiring.
Why is it that it's only government that can't do without their money? How about us? How come I can do without mine, but you can't do without yours? Right? Government can't make it, but we can.
You can.
I can.
You can.
Right?
Well, you go to the Poverillo house; they'll help you out.
Well, thank God.
Let's go to Prop 31. Pretty interesting observation. This one failed. This was the state budget proposition. What do you make of this one, Prop 31?
I never did like this much.
Yeah.
It looked like a lot of do-gooder stuff. They had this thing about a 2-year budget, which kind of appealed to people. There was a lot of other stuff in there. It looked like it was going to add another layer of bureaucracy onto me. And like that's what we need, right? Is more people and more people in this mess.
All right, Prop 32 failed as well. Political contributions, of course, money coming out of your paycheck to go to here, there, and everywhere and support any kind of political activity that's going on. Not a surprise there.
But, this to me was the most important thing on the ballot, to me.
Prop 32?
Prop 32. I told my friends, I said, I would gladly pass 30 to get Prop 32. I said, I'd rather have 32 than fail 30, because this is the one that, is the voluntary payment, union payments, which, if you have to get people's permission. And in Wisconsin, they lost 50% of their union dues when they passed something like this.
Right.
In this state, there's only one way to fix this state. We got to reduce the power of the unions, and this thing failed because they put $100 million into defeating it.
Prop 33 failed as well. Auto insurance companies, that was one that didn't get much fanfare.
Yeah, I don't, to me, I was like they were going to, you can, if your insurance lapses because you're in the military, you shouldn't be penalized. And I, kind of.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Kind of a. Prop 34 failed, the death penalty. That's the death penalty proposition. No surprise there, huh?
Well, in this state, they've always been pro-death penalty, regardless of anything else. And so I'm not surprised, but I would not have been surprised either way.
Prop 35 passed, human trafficking, that's no surprise. Prop 36, this was the 3 strikes law. We had Mike Reynolds in here just the other day, and of course this changes the 3rd strike. You have to commit a violent crime to be prosecuted or convicted of a 3rd strike. That's what will change now in the 3 strikes law. Do you like that?
No, I don't. But I mean, I can understand why people are looking at it, because I think what people are seeing is that we have a system we can't afford. We got a lot of people in jail, and we're letting them out. And so people go, well, why don't we have a 3 strikes law to put these people in when all they do is let them out? Right. I mean, I can understand the confusion, kind of like the death penalty. We have a death penalty, but nobody gets put to death. So why even?
Yeah, it's like a 20-year wait.
And you had a kind of a straw poll on death row. They were against this.
Right.
They prefer the death penalty to not having it because they get attorneys, they get to go to court, they get their law library.
And most of these people, they're...
The people on death row were against removing death penalty.
It's amazing, huh?
It tells you all you need to know. I mean.
All right, which one are we on now? Prop 37, genetically engineered foods. This one failed. Prop 38 failed. That's the tax to fund education. Another tax proposition, John. Prop
well,
38.
I'm glad the people at least rejected that, At least they rejected something.
We don't have that one up on the screen, Prop 39, but that's a business tax. It passed. I can't believe that. Prop 40 passed, the redistricting. Are you surprised by that? Not really.
I'm surprised that people even understood it. Because it gets kind of into the weeds a little bit.
Hard to understand some of these propositions.
I mean, that was the redistricting was approved by this panel that did the redistricting. If this had failed, they would have had to go back and redraw it. I don't know how many people are really going to get into that.
I hear redistricting, I think somebody's trying to pull a fast one on me.
Right.
And I don't know if you feel the same way.
But I mean, to me, it's like, I think, how many people really know and understood their vote on that? It's hard to, but I think if you look at this whole ballot, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
People did. There's kind of a pattern and some logic to all this. Not that it would be mine.
Right.
But there's nothing really too surprising on there. I'm with you. I wish 30 had failed. I wish 32 had passed. But I am not surprised in the state of California that we pass higher taxes, and the unions, they beat up Arnold when he tried to do this kind of thing with them, and now they beat up whoever did this, right?
Yeah. So anyway, we got 30 seconds. You're an optimist.
Well, like I say, I'm not really a linear thinker. I'm more of a circular thinker.
Yeah.
I think that we're not on a straight downward trail to hell. It will come back. And progressivism has never lasted more than 6 or 7 years. The word progressive.
That's what history shows us.
That's what history shows us.
You outlined that in the beginning.
That's what history shows us. I believe that we get about halfway through this term, progressivism will be gone again. It'll be a dirty word. They'll have to start using liberal again.
All right. John Broeske, always good to see you. Come back.
Thank you.
Love to have you on. Yeah, you're a great guest. I appreciate your time coming in such short notice. Hey, that's our show for today. Tomorrow, you know what we're going to be talking about? Ooh, can't wait for this one. PG&E rates. Why are they going up? See you tomorrow.
And here goes.
Some shows force you to laugh. But with Mary Tyler Moore, laughter comes easily. Mary Tyler Moore. More laughs and more.
The more the merrier.
It'll tickle your funny bone.
Would you like to borrow a feather?
Weeknights at 9, 8 Central on MeTV.
That's all, folks.